Welcome back. There's a lot of diversity in Utah's history, and one organization has set out to uncover it just in a different way than you might think.
News Specialist Aaron Cox shows us how they're finding our state's story.
Our story starts at the end of life.
Who are these people?
There's a plat in the Salt Lake City cemetery where Chinese immigrants were buried.
And why did they come here?
But their stories and names are unknown.
Some people on the gravestone is different name.
Names on the headstones don't always reflect who's buried there, due to an early Chinese tradition of exhuming graves and returning them home to China.
So this tells me that the folks now buried there today are now probably the third group of people buried in that plat.
When the leaves fall, it goes to the root. When a body dies, it needs to go back to the hometown.
And this is where their story begins. Members of Utah's Chinese community joined Utah's Historic Preservation Office to clean up records and see if they can find out who is buried in the Chinese section.
In this room with Chinese speakers who understand Cantonese, some only understand Mandarin, it's really an interesting discussion of what does every character mean.
There are 3 different Chinese dialects they use to translate the tombstones.
In Hong Kong, it's LAU. In China, it's LIU.
I already said. It's important to document what they look like on the stone, because that will help us to hear maybe how you pronounce it in their original language.
As they try to uncover the right name, they also face challenges with English records that don't always reflect the right spelling or even the right person.
So now we had to change the English one.
Some Chinese immigrants bought official papers under a different name to make the trip overseas.
I want to dive into the lives of these folks. You know, how did they get here? What did they do when they were in Utah or the American West? How did they help shape what we know as Utah today through their lived experiences?
Translation is just a portion of the work. The next step is to come here to the Chinese plat and fix up the headstones.
Part of the interesting problem for this is the hard water staining.
Stains, tipping, sinking, even gophers making a home here. So the graves need a tune-up.
There is a proper way that has been scientifically studied and documented of products that we can use that don't harm the headstones.
Once records are cleaned up, Amy Berry, the cemetery manager for the state, will help community members clean and care for the tombstones.
It's a really great project because we can connect with the current Chinese community.
Bringing new life to the stories buried in the cemetery.
All those people who had each an individual story, each an individual life that helped shape what we know as Utah.
Connecting the end to the beginning.
And I feel very connected to the names whenever I see those characters.
In Salt Lake City, Aaron Cox, KSL 5 News.